Up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode, like all of them, brought to you by Off the Record. We love Off the Record. I got 3 more emails this week from people who used Off the Record to save their little backsides in a court of law. Off the Record is a service that, were you to get a moving violation, big or small, connects you with an attorney in the jurisdiction where you got that ticket. Then they go to work on your behalf and they do everything they can to get those points off your record, or not on it in the first place, really. Man, they cover almost all of the U.S. and they have an unbelievable track record of getting people out of little sticky situations with their cars. Download the app and use code TST Pod for 10% off all legal services with Off the Record. And if you prefer the web, go to offtherecord.com/TST. You'll get that same 10% off all legal services booked through Off the Record. Don't plead guilty. This, in fact, I swear, I've used Off the Record a whole bunch of times. I swear it is easier, faster, more efficient, and cheaper, and with much better outcomes to use Off the Record than just to plead guilty. It's all of everything about getting a ticket is improved with Off the Record. Use code TST Pod on the app or offtherecord.com/TST on the web. We love you, Off the Record. Thank you for sponsoring our little program here.
Yeah.
Remember? I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but like I hid up here. And you were downstairs like bullshitting with them for a few minutes.
Right, because
I didn't come down. That wasn't. I have cameras. I could see the whole time.
Because Zach and I already like blew our wad. Talked about everything. I got nothing left to say.
Fresh.
We have 3 minutes of conversation. That feels good. That feels good.
We're about topped out on everything to talk about.
Brutal.
The most interesting one
leave.
was just talking about our lineup of vehicles outside, which
hilarious.
is hilarious.
And it could have been, if it was a few minutes earlier, then Zach driving an S54 swapped E36 would have really rounded out the late 90s drug dealer aesthetic that was
But
happening.
us together, we just look like a pretty successful dentist, maybe even like an orthodontist or something who
like that Chris Rock joke where he's like, I live in Alpine, New Jersey. Jay-Z is in my neighborhood, but either side of me is 2 dentists. And he's like, that's the difference between,
we got what is that? Bentley what?
A Turbo R.
Bentley Turbo R.
Yeah,
and
great
a
name
Ferrari
for a car.
360.
It's a luxury sedan named like a Japanese hatchback. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
And it has, you should see the size of the turbo. It has one.
Oh,
it's a
wow.
6 3/4 V8 with a turbo.
No intercooler, right?
Yeah, it has an intercooler.
It does? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
6 3/4 is a really interesting way to say that.
That's how you have to say it. Not only that, they get very mad if you don't say that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that car. It's probably a car I would avoid in most of my life because it seems like a just depreciating asset. But
Not depreciating, flat, just expensive to maintain. Yeah. You can buy and sell them at the same number all day, but it's what happens in between, as my video will show.
It's expensive to keep a boat floating. I think.
Yeah.
No,
but it's
my
interesting
video will
'cause
show.
the 360 is like that. People always come up to me and they're like, bet this thing costs a fortune to maintain. And I'm like, nah, actually, it's great.
So that's sort of, okay, dive in. 360. You brought it here. It's fucking loud.
Yeah,
and
it's like my primary daily driver.
Jewish Racing Gold. Everything about it is excellent.
Yeah,
it's all perfect.
Yeah.
Beater Ferrari, which is such a funny thing to say.
Such a funny thing to say. So the fun thing about this car, I love telling people, is I sold my 1993 Mazda.
Fucking read the sign.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm Italian.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to sit on my hands.
Talk with our hands.
I'm going to have to sit on my hands.
I'll put the sign right in front of you.
To be fair, there's a sign that says, please don't bang on the table. It startles the microphones. And I looked at it and I acknowledged it, but I just can't help myself.
The problem is when it's not voluntary. People just do it. They don't even know they're doing it. Even broadcasting professionals like yourself.
These chairs, they're pretty ergonomic. I feel like they just need like hand straps. So I can just talk like this.
We could add that in 2025.
We should do a Patreon show. Oh, this is it. You know how AYG has hard feelings on the Patreon? It's the same 2 guys doing a different show, which is probably very hard. If you did a show with someone, would you be able to do a different show with that person, podcasts,
Probably.
that would be hard.
Because I'm not an actor. I'm just like myself. So if it's just me being me in two situations.
So what if our
maybe.
other show, our side show for Patreon, is Straight Jacket Radio? That's where we tie the guests up in a straight jacket.
I don't know how to express myself without my hands.
Until they've completely
It's like when we
freaked
cut
out.
Samson's hair.
It'll be our like hot ones. Straight Jacket
I'm
Radio.
terrified now. I didn't even make it a long time. It was like
No, it's
we
fine.
were seconds
It's fine.
into it.
You can spin the chair and do the AC Slater.
No,
The chair's
no.
good for that.
I would have brought a hat with the brim to go backwards. Yeah.
This is look. I'm Vinny.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. We have
Instantly
another.
look cooler
We have
now.
another Vinny here.
Yeah.
Okay, 360. It is champagne, people.
Yeah.
For those who haven't
Yeah.
seen it, and you should, either on Vinny's YouTube channel or on his Instagram, Vin_TRA, it's fucking Jewish racing gold, which makes it the best Ferrari 360 of all time.
I actually did a post or something explaining because people were so mad, but I was like, the 360 came in 3 different silvers. One was like a blue silver that kind of sucks.
It's more blue than silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gold silver, which
Yeah.
kind of sucks, and then a silver, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
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 And
I got the gold one.
I wouldn't. Maybe I'm colorblind. I'm sorry. I'm colorblind. This to me doesn't look like gold silver. It just looks like
Depends on the
Prius
light.
gold.
Yeah, that's the thing is it is the most pedestrian color you could ever get
Yeah.
because it's not a beautiful silver. It's just like a color that a car came in that no one cares about.
My mom had an RX 300 in this color.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's the
that's what
RX
it is.
300 color.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
why I call it Jewish Racing Gold. Because
Yeah.
all 90s Lexuses.
I call it retirement racing gold.
Same thing,
Yeah,
but because
you
you're
know.
not Jewish. You
Yeah, I
can't do
can't
that
say
one.
it.
I
Yeah,
can do
can't
that
say
one.
it. But you are welcome to call it, yeah. But yeah, I sold my 93 RX-7 for more than this car. And
You
I
got cash back to go to a Ferrari.
crazy deal.
That's literally the meme.
Yeah.
That's the fucking, guy in the Fast and Furious. He's like, more than you can afford now, super.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Except for
It's the Radwood nostalgia.
I had a Mark
It's the
IV Supra and I
inverse,
sold it for tens of thousands of dollars more than this car is still worth. But
That's great.
Yeah, so I thought it was silver. I think the proper name is something, I don't remember it. Nürburgring silver?
Argento Nürburgring?
Yeah. So I thought it
It's
was
a great sounding name.
Ooh, beautiful. It's as beautiful as it is. And I
If
thought
you
it was
saw
that.
a newspaper classified, you'd be like, Argento Nürburgring.
Yeah.
Sold!
Yeah. And this is Grigio Ingrid. which,
Yeah, that's a no. Ingrid. It's named after a woman from the 1930s. It's a Depression era who drinks Pinot Grigio.
It's Depression era gold. Oh God. So I thought it was silver, like the silver
Yeah.
color, and I drove up there, and I immediately pulled up, and I was like, "Ooh, boy, that's ugly."
Were the photos a little?
They were like taken in
Different
soft light. Because
Like,
if you
yeah.
see it in pictures like this,
In the
it's
shade, it looks silver.
pretty
there you
silver.
go. Yeah.
So I drove
It's
up
like
there.
a rosé in this light.
Yeah. So I went up there, thought it was silver. It had this like disgusting crema interior, and this thing was just in horrible shape.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad because the guy who I bought it from was super nice. He was like such a rad dude. He had a 991 GT3 and this, and he was like liquidating his cars to take care of his mom or something. It was like, I was like, hey man, look, I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in this car. Like, I was like, it's just really like rough. I don't know. All this stuff looks expensive to fix. Like, I don't really want it, whatever. So I left, and he wound up hitting me up many, many days later and was like, hey, just checking in if you're interested. I'm like, I'm not.
Hey, listen, no one else is interested either. And,
Yeah. So he had the car listed for $66,000. And I was like, I just don't. I would rather buy one for like 70. That's nice, and maybe like red or yellow or something cool.
There's enough 360s where you can get the one you want eventually.
Yeah. So he was like, well, make me an offer on the car. And I had thought about it, and I was like, man, I can't even do it. I can't do it. I can't. Like,
How about
Wow.
a Mazda RX-7 and you give me $20K?
So, because people always think I love buying and selling cars, and people think I'm a lowball and asshole. But I'm like, I don't actually do that. I think that's really jerky. So I was just like, I don't want it. It's fine. I'll find another one, like you said. So we went back and forth, and I
I'm
was
a
like,
lowball and asshole. Have you read The Art of the Game? I'm just nitpicking.
well, he kept asking me. He was like, what do you want to pay for the car? And I was like, it's going to be disrespectful. It's going to be just a disrespectful offer. And he was like, throw it at me. I was like, $40,000.
Wow.
And he was like, oh, I can't do that. How's 55? And I was like, no. And we've battled back and forth. Not battled, but like soft text messages where I was just like, I'm not really interested. And we settled on 47,000.
Amazing.
47 grand for a 42,000 mile Ferrari 360 that came with $22,000 in service records. Timing belts, power steering stuff, like brakes, bushings,
Was this guy
mufflers.
was he the first owner? No.
No, you ever see that meme that's like first owner, third owner?
Yeah.
It was like a BMW.
Yeah.
I'm the 10th owner of this car.
Wow.
I'm the 10th owner.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, 10th owner, baby.
But dude, think about it this way. 9 people and you said yes to that color.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So on the one hand, it's like you think of that as like a bad color.
Yeah.
On the other hand, a lot of people were like, I'm in.
I think
mean,
that tells me that 10 people just really want to own a Ferrari no matter what.
Yeah,
Like, you didn't want, like, the fact that you told this guy, I don't really want it, and he was like, but nobody else does. You're the only person that's talking
No one
to
else
me.
wanted it. And I was the perfect person for this car because the guy I bought it from was not a DIY guy. So everything, stack of receipts, all from Beverly Hills Ferrari. So this guy was taking what this was, pile of shit,
to the dealer.
and
prices.
paying dealer prices. So he was just getting destroyed on it. Meanwhile, like I've done everything to it myself, so it's pretty easy. But
Did you find as you started taking it apart yourself that the dealer had really kind of like hosed him and not done a good job after racking
I didn't
up?
need to take it apart. I looked at the receipts. I read all the receipts, and it's like he bought a stock muffler, and it was like $2,500 for the muffler, and then like $1,100 install. You're like, oh my god!
Like you could just see that from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's just a couple bolts. You just, whew. So, yeah. But for me, the price of maintaining it has been great. I've done motor mounts and an oil change.
Yeah,
That's it. And I did brakes. But
these are really. This is like Ferrari's LS 400. This is like the first car where they were like, all right, listen, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to need to like take a little shorter siesta and give a few more fucks about these
Right,
cars that we're
because
putting together.
Luca went in like 94, 93, and he's like, he drove the
The 348.
348. He's like,
Yeah.
this thing sucks.
Yeah.
Fix it. So in 94, they fixed it, and they got a lot of parts from the 355, but like it was the changing
Pro
of the
tip,
guard.
you want a 94 348.
Yeah.
They're like,
I like the 355 is cool. It's definitely like the reason this car is hated so much is it's exactly like the 911s.
Yeah.
This is the 996 of
Yeah,
Ferraris.
yeah,
so
pretty
it's
much.
like you followed up the 355, which was like the most beautiful Ferrari in like the attainable world, and then which would be like the 993. And then you come out with this.
I think these are gorgeous cars.
I do too.
Because I'm
They
also
look
not a
really
pop-up
nice.
headlight person. So that's I think the era change might have offended people, right? The 355
I
when
think
they
the
switched.
same because I mean, look at the affinity for the 996 headlights now. Like people aren't so offended by it, but I think the front of these cars are pretty soft. They're a little like, especially from what Ferrari was, is all like hard angles, and
Yeah.
sharp edges, and then you come out with this like bubbly, happy little thing.
I think it's aged really well, though. It's just a tasteful,
I think it's
like a
better than
good-looking,
the,
better than the 430.
Better than 430.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
you think so?
Yeah,
I
like
think so.
430s.
Oh, that's
Because for me, the
I like
430,
driving
the
430s.
proportions are weird. The intakes are huge, but the headlights got smaller. I just think this is more balanced.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I mean, the 430 Scud is an ultimate dream car for me, so I
definitely.
like can't. I'm
They
like
drive
blinded
cool.
by it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
I personally think these look better.
Interesting.
So you did do a manual swap yourself.
Yeah, I did everything
Okay.
myself. Yeah.
And that was easy enough, right?
Yeah. So
if you know how to wrench on cars, which
yeah,
you
if
do.
you know how to wrench on cars. Well, I did that with a shop.
Okay.
At their supercars down in Costa Mesa.
Okay.
Literally, my friend put me in touch with them, and an EAG wanted like a dedicated installer. So I was like, we'll work together because I couldn't do this in my garage. There's just the sheer amount of parts that have to come off of the car is like incredible. So yeah, I mean, you got to take the back bumper, the whole under tray, the transmission, which like means you got to take everything in the engine bay out, the whole interior. Like it's a lot. But
Was the technical ability drastically different than things you had done previously, or is it more about space?
no, actually, it's so easy. It's one of the easiest cars I've ever worked on, simply because there's so much room. Like the way it's built is you can get to everything.
Yeah, like behind all the panels, there's like
Yeah,
open
you take
spaces.
you
in
take
there.
off some panels, you take off the bumper, and you're like literally everything is accessible.
Yeah.
It was it was a really easy swap, but what was annoying is when I got the car, first thing I did, took it to DDE, and I was like, I'm going to do a burnout. And I just smoked the clutch. And I was like, fuck. And everyone's like, oh, you're not going to be able to drive that. That thing's never going to shift again. I did like 7,000 miles on it with that clutch, pulled the trans out, replaced the clutch, thing brand new.
Stock clutch.
The stock clutch is brand new. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, the swap's super intuitive. So for everyone who doesn't know, it's a manual transmission shifted automatically.
Yeah.
So you just remove all the solenoids. I have a video of it. I'm really dumb, but I take all my videos off. It's on here. But I take all my videos off my grid, and I put them on my Reels page only. So if you go up, you can just hit Reels.
Smart.
But there's it's just it's probably down a bit. But there's a actuator with solenoids and stuff. There it is. That's my dyed the interior video.
That was very interesting.
That actually was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so taking interiors apart. To me, I'm so afraid of rattles and shit that I'd be like, they're never going to go back together the same.
Yeah. I don't know. I just dived into it. It's the next video that shows the actuator. Or the one after.
It does.
Oh, no, it's the pinned one. I'm sorry. I'm being an idiot. It's the first one up top. That's like first drive, I think.
That one.
Yeah. Yeah, so look,
nice.
this is what the thing is. That pretty much is what shifts a manual transmission automatically.
Yeah.
It's just like valves and
it's just like
solenoids.
a hydraulic lines connected to some shit at either end.
Yeah. Dude, I got so hustled on that. So
What do you mean?
Well, I pulled this thing out,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to keep it. And I was like, I'm not going to throw it out. So someone hits me up, and they're like, hey, would you sell the unit?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. He's like, how much? I'm like, I don't know. Like, throw me an offer. He's like, $500. I'm like, sure. Done deal.
Oh, no.
So I sell it. And then it was for sale on eBay for $2,500.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like,
them things
goddamn.
them things are expensive. Yeah, they're really expensive.
Yeah, I just thought I was helping out like a follower. I was like, damn, someone in my audience needs one. Like, I'm down. You can have it. You know, like, hell yeah. I'd rather pass it along. And instead, it just got sold.
That's so funny.
Or maybe it never got sold. It might just still be on eBay.
OBO, you want me to buy it back?
Yeah, I'll hit him up.
And just
give
fucking
you $450.
meet him in the alley and punch him in the face.
I figured he worked at Ferrari Beverly Hills. He's just gonna, install it on somebody's car for $5,000.
Dry ice blast it and put it in someone else's car.
When we were doing the rental cars, the 430 ones, those things would go out, and oh boy, were they expensive and intense to fix.
The thing is like, if you could just remove that whole unit and the thing, like just the one piece, like if you could just remove it and put it back in, you could do it in like 2 hours.
Wow.
But
You have to
I'd
take a
imagine you have
lot.
to like change, like buy all that crap individually. So I mean, yeah, if you're replacing that stuff new, it's going to get super expensive.
Yeah. And it's so nice. Those cars with sticks they're fun.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I joke, but it's not my daily driver, but I drive it more than any car I have. I bought it in March, February, I don't know, and I bought my truck around the same time. I've put 3,000 miles on my truck and like almost 12,000 miles on this
that's
thing.
Damn,
awesome.
that is
it's
a lot.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Those cars are really good.
yeah,
They're
it's
really
a good like touring car, because unlike some of the more sporty cars like that kind of suck on the freeway and stuff, like this thing just eats up miles. It's pretty comfortable. Like
they're
it's
nice.
great. Because
I mean,
driving around here is just a lot of freeway.
Your video was inspiring because, I would love to own a Ferrari. They're expensive, but the manual swap, we talk about it all the time, is a much cheaper way to get into a really good Ferrari because if people just don't want the automatics as much.
Yeah, and I think like the biggest thing for cheap guys like myself is for what the manual swap is expensive. There's like 3 or 4 different companies that make it, and they're all like 12 to 20 grand ish. Plus, you got to pay someone to install it or do it yourself. But
the difference between an auto and a stick,
I think is exactly that.
150 grand or something.
No. The Ferrari
double.
market's so lame because
yeah,
original manual car will be, I don't know, let's call it 140 grand.
Yeah.
A converted manual car will be like 110.
Yeah.
So there's a difference, but I think if you bought an F1 car and swapped it, for the cost of the swap, you're pretty much like break even. Because the car will be worth 20 grand more.
If you
So,
already
like,
own the car. Yeah.
But you're still probably spending less overall than you would if you bought an original manual car.
Totally.
Right,
Yeah.
that's the game.
Yeah.
Because, people just want the original stuff.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Ferrari people, for sure.
Yeah.
They don't put up with modified cars.
Oh,
at
yeah.
all,
This
really.
car, I won't sell it. People hit me up all the time to buy it. And I'm like, I don't want to get rid of it. I still really enjoy it. It's also like a sweet spot for me in terms of fun and expensive and cool. Like
Yeah.
the driver feeling of it is great. But I could also park it. Like I went to Blue Bottle and I almost got smashed into by like a Prius that was trying to parallel park in front of me. And I was like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that was my 328.
freedom.
I was like the 6th owner. It had been painted 4
Yeah.
times and 45,000 miles. And like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a beater, but it was enough of a beater that I could like park it wherever. I'm like,
And I like
cool.
that because
great.
I still have the GT3 RS, which I'm shocked that I still have. But I don't want to drive that anywhere. I'm so worried about it. It's like my baby. I'm so scared to do anything
Yeah,
with
it
it. You know,
sucks.
I hate it. And honestly, it makes the car so not fun for me.
You have to pick. That's why things like, the Colorado Grand and whatever. It's like they have these like, curated experiences now to give people reasons to drive their special cars that are
Yeah.
other than like just around where you live.
Yeah, I think about you all the time because
Because my M3.
we talked about this up at Newcombs once because I was like, I don't know, I think I'm going to sell this thing. Like, I hate how much it's gone up in value and it kind of
Oh,
takes
yeah,
away the
yeah.
ownership experience to me because I don't want to drive it all the time. And you said, well, it's not a car you drive all the time. Like, it's an occasion car. You
Yeah.
drive it when you want to enjoy it. And I was
Yeah.
like, it seems so lame. Like, I don't want to just... And then I thought about
But when
it.
you
I
have
was
like
like, yeah.
7 cars,
Yeah.
like you can have an occasion car.
Yeah,
It's okay.
and I was like, I don't need another car like the 360 because the 360 is my car to drive
Yeah.
everywhere. And
Right.
then,
Yeah.
when
if
I
you're
want
gonna
to
get a
drive
new
something,
car, it should like add a function or like it shouldn't replace the function of something you want to
yeah,
keep.
yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
Or
what I've-
compete for function, you know?
Yeah.
I sold off a bunch of cars because I want to do that. I want something
this,
for
one of this
everything.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of all. You don't need 2 of the same.
Yeah.
Because cars are hard to maintain.
Yeah.
And like
And insure and park.
Yeah.
And all
yeah,
that shit.
insure and park and maintain and fix and know things about.
Yeah,
If
it's
you're
a
not
lot.
going to find a reason to use it a bunch, then it's kind of a waste.
Do you
Yeah.
still track the GT3, or are you hesitant to do that also?
No,
Because of the
I mean, I
value?
do. I used to go to the track a lot, and now I don't, which is a really fun thing to think about in the world of like, I'm now a YouTuber, but I have less free time than I did.
Yeah.
Because when I had a job, I used to just go to like SDC days all the time. Because I would just be like, I got to answer a couple emails, and like, I'll just not show up to this call, and like, it'll be fine. You know? Like,
Now, if you go to a track day, it's work. You got to make videos and shit. You got to do
yeah,
the
except for
whole thing.
track videos suck.
Yeah.
No one wants to watch them.
They do.
So
Take it to the track. Stay to the track. Stay
Yeah.
on the track where I won't watch the video you've made.
yeah, everyone wants racing content except no one will watch it.
Yeah.
I made one of my favorite videos. I got to race touring car this year.
We
got
got
to
to talk about that.
Yeah. So I got to race touring car and I was really excited about it. Well, I was actually terrified, but we made a really good video and it was all well thought out. I like scripted the whole first half of it, so it was like concise. We did not show any racing. It was just like my experience. Video was great. Worst performing video I've ever made.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brutal.
Just the worst performing video
We've
I've
had to
ever
learn these
made.
lessons. It's so
Yeah,
unfortunate.
we've learned
Well,
similar
like
lessons.
when we do
yeah.
a track day video or something, it's basically for us.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
like it's like a charity to ourselves. We go, no one's going to watch this. It might not even break even for gas, but we get to go to the racetrack.
Yeah,
Like
that's
this is the Perump
100%
track.
almost of
Yeah.
our track-related content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a GR86 versus GR Corolla video, and it's like these are the 2 most popular enthusiast cars under this price point right now.
Yeah.
We did a road thing and a track thing, and we raced each other like it had stakes and all that shit. Did not do great.
I wonder what it is. Is it just not like
Just doesn't translate that well to, showing speed, showing
Right.
excitement, I guess.
I think it's hard to film it. I mean, unless you have a big team, you've done that stuff.
Yeah.
Like this versus that does a really good job of cutting around, showing speed, but you have a big infrastructure for those.
drag
shoots.
racing is also drag racing does great.
It's simple.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, look
also
at
simple.
CarWow, but like,
Yeah.
I think drag racing content's really simple because it's also like instant gratification.
It's short,
You're like,
yeah.
quick, run it, done, easy.
Simple to define that who won the thing,
Yeah.
but you still, I think for me, if I'm going to watch the video, I need it to be shot well also. So I
Right.
need to have that story told. But
Same.
road course is tough.
Yeah, and I think road course is tough because quarter mile, everyone knows like 10 seconds is fast or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then or like car beats car really quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, people are like, oh, you do a sub to a button willow. And you're like, if you don't live in a 150-mile radius, no one even knows what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's unless you're at the Nürburgring, I suppose. But
yeah, and even that, I don't
even
think people
I think
follow.
Misha does a lot of views, right?
He does a lot.
Misha's channel, I was thinking about this the other day, probably also crushes because if you're going to watch the lap, which is like, 7 to 10 minutes. So, like, your watch duration is probably really high.
Yeah, you're already like
Yeah.
prepared. The audience is looking for that.
Yeah, like you're not going to sign up and then like scrub through the lap.
Yeah.
You're going to
Good
watch
point.
the whole thing
Yeah.
straight through.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's brave.
He's a genius. He also once told me that he's like 70 videos ahead or something. And I was like, wow, you're my idol.
When I
Yeah.
was driving people's personal cars, at one point I was something like 20 or 30 ahead. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
That's a nice life.
I mean, it was until it wasn't. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's not like you just like wake up one day and you're 70 ahead. Like I've made.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you have to make that many.
You have to make the
extra-
70
Yeah.
while putting out videos.
At
yeah.
a certain point, I did, and Misha probably may or may not, but I ran into what I felt like was a wall, which people have heard me say so many fucking times. But it was great until it wasn't.
Yeah. But making videos is hard. I mean, I missed last week, and then I'm going to miss this week because just like holidays and like people aren't around. And actually, a funny thing with this situation is people don't respect YouTube as a job with like a schedule.
Yeah.
So like I was planning on making a video, and someone just like backed out on me, and I'm like, that fucking sucks. And I was thinking about doing it today, and then I saw my calendar, and then you text me, and I was like, I'm not going to flake on Matt because I hate that people don't respect people's time who do like this type of thing.
Part of what stopped me driving other people's cars was the rate of flakery.
Oh, yeah.
Started to get unacceptably high.
Yeah, because people look at YouTube and stuff as like, oh, you're just having fun.
Yeah.
So like you can do this whenever, and you're like, no, I like have to schedule things. Like I have like it's like a business you have to do. So you have to stay according to plan. We dealt with it at Hoonigan all the time. People just like wouldn't show up to this first that. And you're like, motherfucker, we got 40 people 3 hours away. We're depending on you to be here.
That must have been wild. I feel like I could smell those videos when I'd watch, and the lineup would just be a little bit interesting. It seemed like something subbed in, or you guys would say it, and you make the most of it, right?
Yeah.
So
that I could see. It's annoying, but I could see how somebody would flake on me. I'm just like a dude. But like to flake on a production is insane.
Yeah, and that's the way I am right now. It's like I'm just a dude. So people will be like, oh, yeah, we could shoot on Monday. And then Monday comes and you're like texting, and then we're like, oh, dude, my bad. I forgot. I have the tires are bald. And you're like, what the... You knew I was coming. Like, why didn't you tell me this last week?
Yeah. One of the worst things about the one takes, because I started doing the fan cars after Matt bowed out, was you're up in the canyons where there's no cell service, so you could sit there for 40 minutes.
Just like waiting for
them. Yeah.
And sometimes
You meet people up there.
there was a time where literally I waited, I think, 40 minutes, and I was like, okay, it's 41 minutes. I'm going home. And as I drive down, the guy shows up, and like I'm happy because now I didn't waste my day, but I'm also fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Because my brain had gotten ready for the shoot and then accepted that it wasn't
it's over.
happening, and then I go,
Yeah.
at least I can go home and I'll have an earlier morning, and now I have to do it again. I'm in a bad mood. All of that stuff.
Yeah. Which is always
And now
fun,
you have to
too.
talk to the dude who's a stranger, fundamentally.
Yeah.
Other than three.
And you're not
emails.
allowed to be in a bad mood on content because you're doing a fun thing.
Yeah.
So
And you're allowed to be in a bad mood only if it's funny for the audience. If
Right.
you're like really miserable.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because people love your misery, of course.
Yes.
Well, I've been trying to solve this problem with the Bentley, right? Because why is it interesting to anybody? Because people want to see how much money I have to spend to keep this old car going, right? But like, we want a new daily driver that'll be interesting to people, but I don't want it to be that miserable. So where's the misery coming from?
Misery has to come from the money.
It has to come from depreciation. So it's going to come from depreciation.
Yeah, you
So
should just buy like a Maserati Quattroporte.
Well, I've sent a deposit, and I might be actually flying halfway across the country and about facing and driving home.
A what?
In a
You're not gonna say it's okay.
2022 Taycan Cross Turismo, the cheapest one for sale in the country.
That seems like a good buy.
Which has 25,000 miles on it, and it is literally half price. 50% depreciation in 2
Holy
years
crap.
and 25,000 miles.
That's insane.
And this motherfucker is loaded.
Nice. You want to know what I looked at recently? Because I'm a big car market follower. Just the other day, I was like, remember Tesla Model S Plaids were like, people were buying those for like 170 grand?
Yeah.
So I was like, what are those looking like? So I went on Bring a Trailer and I looked at the previous sales.
Yeah.
You can buy like a reasonable mileage Plaid for like 38 grand.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah. Think
1,000
about,
horsepower for 38,000.
but think about
Yeah.
if you bought one of those for 170
Yep.
2 years ago, and now it's worth 40.
Yeah.
You're like,
imagine a Model X Plaid.
I didn't know they made those.
Yeah.
Talk about something no one should ever care
they
about.
end at the same floor, but the Model X starts like 25 grand even higher.
and it has more mechanical problems
Yeah.
because of the doors.
So I put a deposit on this thing, and after this podcast, we're going to be doing paperwork, which I think means I have to fly to Detroit and turn
Cool.
around and drive 2,300 miles home
Well,
in a
that'd be fun.
used sight unseen purchase.
Are you getting it from like a Porsche dealership?
Yes.
That's
So here's
nice. That's like perfect. You're not getting it from like Jim's Corner used car.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's
Exotic rentals or something.
It's at a Porsche store in Detroit. Now
Yeah,
here's the fun bit. From day of signing, 4-year unlimited mile bumper to bumper
Oh, I
warranty.
love that.
Unlimited
I love that.
mile.
That's insane.
Boy, are we gonna push that one.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about doing something similar because I have a Elantra N.
Yeah.
Which was like part of this big thing we did for Hyundai. And so I was like, I'm going to get one of these cars. It's cool. And it has a 10-year warranty and all that. And I'm like, it's great. And the car is really good.
Yep.
I just, it feels similar to when I had a Cayenne diesel. Like, I just don't feel like I could get out of it. I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, it's nice, but it doesn't feel like my car.
Doesn't
at
feel
all.
like you.
Yeah, it just doesn't
Yeah.
like fit me. So I think I want to sell it. But I was thinking about trading it into CarMax and getting something ridiculous with a CarMax warranty.
Sure.
Because, like, they have a crazy warranty process, too.
They do. Doug
So-
abused it for years.
They changed it
quite
because of-
famously. They
because
Doug- yeah, CarMax changed their policy because Doug abused it so beautifully.
Yeah, because, like, I would get an E63 or something cheap
Yes.
that rules and then just never deal with it.
Yes,
'Cause-
warranty's good.
Yeah, there's so many cars I'd want to own that I wouldn't have with a warranty. Like a B5 S4, one of my
yeah.
favorite cars of all time. I would never own it unless someone else could take care of it on their dime.
I
Yeah.
told you about my general manager's 997.2 manual turbo 911.
That's a nice car.
That is still under Porsche extended warranty.
No way.
It's a
How's that even
9-
possible?
It's a 997.
15 years old.
He bought some like super special on sale warranty that
amazing.
lasted like 10 years.
I
when he
love
bought the
that.
car.
And what's
Yeah.
funny is he says it doesn't need much, and it runs
there's-
great.
they're
So
super
like
reliable.
Porsche got their
Yeah.
money, you know.
Yeah, but man, like, yeah, there's so many cars I just would never want to own outside.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Gen 2 Raptor, and it was the crappiest vehicle I've
Eric.
ever owned in my life.
Eric had one of those too, and they lemoned it.
Mine should have been a lemon. I had a warranty on it. It was a 2017, and I joked that I got free storage at the dealer because my truck was at the dealer every other week. I kid you
Jeez.
not. I owned it for like less than a year.
Yeah.
It needed a transmission,
Whoa.
a rear end. Like the diff just started whining and was like going to explode. Turbos, cam phasers,
Oh, no.
oil pan gasket.
Oh, no.
Some other like random stuff. The car was always in the dealer. It was horrible.
Yeah, that's no good.
And the like, you know, you've owned some nice cars. So you take your Porsche to the dealer. They treat you nice. They give you a loaner, like a new loaner. I used to bring my bicycle in the trunk and then ride home from the dealer because it was close enough. Because they don't even give you a ride. They don't even
Yeah.
pay for your Uber. They're just like, oh, thanks for bringing your crappy truck back and good
That
luck
is
getting
wild.
home.
Our Mach-E, when it was new, had a lot of like software bugs and shit. But fortunately, we live walking distance from a Ford dealer, so we were walking to a Ford dealer.
It was horrible. And I loved it so much that I sold it and I bought another one.
Don't you have like a first gen?
I have a
now?
first gen now.
Yeah,
So I
those
sold
are
it.
like unkillable.
The best.
Yeah.
So I sold the 2017. I bought a 2020. And I was like, I'm just going to buy a warranty from a Ford dealership. And then I went there and they couldn't warranty it. And I was like, oh, I'm getting rid of this fucking thing. So I sold it and I got a Gen 1. It's been great. The Gen 1 is like the workhorse. It's
Yeah.
pretty much a work truck with cool bodywork. So
I had
Yeah.
a
And you like the suspension,
2011. 11? Whatever the first year of the 6.2 liter was, that's what I had.
Yeah.
It was great. It was just huge, but it was.
Yeah, it's massive. It's the only thing I don't like about it, but I like having a truck. So
Having a truck is helpful.
for when you have to do stuff is good.
You do more truck shit than I do. I totally get it.
Yeah, you
We're
tow
gonna
shit,
get-
you camp, you do all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do as much of it anymore, but I
I'm
want
stoked
to.
to try. We're going to go to King of the Hammers this year with Ford.
Oh.
They invited us out, and they're getting us the Ranger Raptor, which I'm kind of excited
Hell
to try
yeah.
the Ranger
Yeah,
Raptor.
yeah, the
'cause,
Ranger
it's
Raptor looks sick.
Yeah, it's like the size of the 90s F-150.
Yeah.
It's a good size.
Yeah, it's all you need.
Yeah.
You've never been to KOH?
No. Very
I've been.
excited. Very
It
excited.
is,
What should I pack?
Depends on the weather. I went out there one year and it was
Not
like
clothes. I know what clothes to pack.
10 degrees, yeah.
What do I bring? Do we bring
like
What,
drugs.
yeah, like what
or-
kind of contraband are we
Oh,
talking about?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever you want. Really. it's
doing
lawless.
drugs.
So the thing is it's probably like, I don't even know how to say it. I guess it'd be like Burning Man, but for like off-road bros.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured that.
Yeah.
So
it's like you do whatever the hell you want.
I kind of figured it was
Yeah.
like Water World, but in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like
insane.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is
great.
you go out there and people are just driving like the most ridiculous stuff. You're like, where did all of Temecula come out to this? Like, what is going on?
I've never
Like-
seen shocks so long though. It was
Yeah,
just like
shocks.
triple shocks on
longest-
the
the
corners,
longest
30
travel.
inches of travel.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
insane.
wild. So good luck.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So maybe no drugs. Okay.
Yeah, bring some drugs. I don't know. Whatever. You know?
Just have an escort.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
get lost in the
Yeah.
desert.
Yeah, don't get lost in the desert. Don't do a bunch of peyote in it.
Yeah.
Then, like on the course.
Yeah, just wondering about the meaning of life. Wait, guys, I,
look,
figured it
I've
out.
seen-
Stop.
Just, most people forget that Fear and Loathing, he was going to an off-road race. Okay.
Oh, God.
Like, it's not
Because off-road
central
race
to the
is honestly
movie.
kind of scary. Because we did Baja a bunch, and the scariest thing about it is like at a racetrack, you have edges of the track, and then you have the track, and you're like, oh, just stay off the track or like close to it.
Yeah.
Off-road racing, like your track is undefined in
Especially-
a lot of areas. It's like you could be like a mile off course and just like ripping through the dust, you know?
Yeah.
Did you ever do the Baja race? I know you guys covered it
We
a lot.
chased it
Okay.
twice. So we did like all of it, but we didn't race in it. That was the goal, but then we ended up not making it to the goal.
It's also the only race where you can sort of like be in it without being in it.
Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah,
buy a spectator
Dakar
ticket.
probably you can too.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember
A lot of
when they
citizens
ran-
are in that race, just
Remember
like
they
looking
ran
around.
the fucking drug smuggling truck in Dakar?
Yes.
Entered in the race.
That is a great,
Hey,
amazing
hide in
thing.
plain sight is the best
Final
way.
boss move.
Yeah.
You know, boss, the entry fees are only like
We can get right through.
$4,000. Just wave us in.
I love that.
All right, so what else is in the garage? You got the truck. We've got this champagne Ferrari.
I got
Do you
the,
still have your NSX? Did you get rid of that?
No, I sold that.
Okay.
Yeah, I sold that a long time ago.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I
How
regret
many
it.
cars do you have total? Just
Right
number-
now, I'm down. I sold a bunch of stuff. So I have the 360, the 997 RS, which I don't
is
think we'll
excellent.
ever leave. I think
It
it's
shouldn't.
yeah,
It doesn't
shouldn't.
get much better than that car. You
Yeah.
couldn't. You know how much money it would cost to replace that car with something better?
It's the only
than
reason
that
I
car?
haven't sold it, because if I sold a 997 RS, I can never buy another one. Like,
Correct.
I could sell the 360 and then regret it and be like, oh, I can get another 360.
No,
It's pretty
no.
reasonable
If you
price.
got out of it,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is buy a Sharky motor.
Yeah.
Which
that'd be
I
cool,
recommend.
too. Yeah, it'd be fun. They're not like doing them in California anymore, though. I talk to Alex all the time.
I don't know, Habibi.
Yeah.
What do you? This is
Yeah, send
paperwork.
it somewhere
It's just
else.
paperwork.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But so I got the 360, the 997 RS, and then the Elantra N Raptor. I have an IS300 Sport Cross, which we're going to build.
Oh,
like,
you do, yeah.
We're going
I
to do
love
a
those
1J GTE in it. It's got a 6-speed already. It's got all the suspension parts.
You bought a manual. It was swapped.
It was
or you-
swapped. I
was
bought it from
swapped?
a friend, yeah. And
Do they when they do
never
the
offer the
swaps in
sport-
those? Is
oh.
it like an OEM quality swap?
no,
or
it's a
not.
piece of shit. I hate it. Yeah, it's the worst. It has a 350Z 6-speed in it, and right now it's the worst car on the planet.
Okay.
It's a 180 horsepower 2J GE with 240,000 miles. And then a race car drivetrain. So the clutch sucks. It like has like slappy drivetrain lash. Like it makes a
Who
ton
made
of noise.
these decisions in that? For that
This
car?
kid Brandon Cotto, who worked at Hoonigan.
Oh,
with
yeah.
us. Horrible car. But I'm going to 1J GTE swap it. So if it makes like 600 horsepower, it'll be way more livable with all of the annoyances.
Yeah.
Because then at least you're like, oh, like it drives like a
Instead
race
of
car
getting
because it
rid of
is
the
a race
annoyances.
car.
Right now, you
You're
have
just
all the
gonna-
cons and none of the pros.
Oh God,
Yeah.
you want to hear a horrible story?
It's too bad.
Absolutely.
Those were like
Of course.
nice.
Let me
cars.
give you a horrible story. So
Please.
I committed to getting rid of that car. right? And I was like, I'm going to sell it. So I list it for sale. And I bought it for 14 grand. So I'm like, I'm going to list it for 15 grand so someone could lowball me and I'll take 14. I'm not going to make money on a car I bought from a friend. So I'm like, 15 grand for another $3,000, which is what I paid for the motor. I'll give you a 1J GTE. And this guy reaches out to me and he's like, hey, I want the car, blah, blah, blah. We know so many mutual people. We're basically friends, this and that. I'm like, okay. He calls me. We talk for like an hour. And I'm like, yeah, I have the motor, but I also have a trans. I have a swap harness. I have all this stuff. And he's like, oh, I want all of it. I want all of it. And I'm like, you got it.
Oh, boy.
It's $19,500. And he's like, yeah, okay. And continues to chew my ear off about how he knows Brian Scotto and, worked on sets with Jeff Swartz. So basically we're friends. And I'm like, cool, man, whatever. This guy throws me $1,000 deposit before SEMA, right? So then I'm like, all right, man, I'm driving out to SEMA. Like, I could take the IS and I'll just drop it off. And then you could come pick up the motor and stuff whenever you want. He's like, no, I'll come out there. Okay. So weeks go by. I found the perfect car I wanted to buy. But I didn't want to have too many cars. So I'm like, I found a left-hand drive swapped Evo 5.
Oh.
In yellow.
Ooh.
Sick car. So I'm like,
That's pretty
I told
cool.
the dude, I'm like, hey, I got a deposit on the IS, but I'm not buying a car because if this falls out, I wouldn't even have space. I don't even know what to do with this thing. So I wait. That car sells. I'm kind of bummed. So I start pressuring the guy. And I'm like, hey, man, it's been now a month and a half. Like, what are you doing? And he keeps dragging his feet. So I'm like, hey, I found a chaser out by you. Send me another $2,000 so I know you're serious. I'll drive the car and the motor out to you. And he's like, okay. So I bought a set of wheels out there that he had picked up. And I go and I tell this dude I'm going to come out and buy his car. So I go to drop it off. I friggin' bring this thing out to Las Vegas for him.
On a drive it or trailer? Not that that's either.
This part of the story gets even more annoying. But the car didn't fit on the trailer. So he was like, I'll fly out and pick up the car, just bring out the engine. And I was like, fine. But when I get there, you have to pay me in full for the whole thing. I'll give you the title, give you the keys. You just have to come pick up the car. He's like, deal. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. I don't care. And I'm trying to make a YouTube video.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I got to end the story of this car, go pick up another one. I had filmed the whole thing already, drive out there, and this guy fucking lowballs me.
You guys hadn't agreed. Well, he agreed on the price on the phone.
He agreed on the price, gave me a deposit, everything.
So you waited till you were out there, and he was like, "Actually,
with
I'm
an engine in the back
much.
of my truck, a transmission, all the parts."
That's a shitty
And he's
move.
like, he hands me the money, and he's like, "There it all is, 18 grand." And I'm like, "What's 18 grand?"
Yeah.
Oh no, well he had given me the difference or whatever, but it added up to 18 grand. And I was like, "We agreed on 19.5." And he's like, "No, your ad said this and this." And I'm like, "Bro, are you fucking kidding me?" I was so mad that I didn't even keep his deposit. I literally took all the money and I just fucking threw it in his trunk and I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. He's like, wait, I want the car. Let's make a deal. And I was like, I don't want to sell you the car.
We just made a deal.
Yeah, I was
You
like,
made
I
a deal
don't-
for 2 months.
Yeah, I was like, I just wasted a day. I don't
Yeah.
care. You don't
Oh my God.
deserve this
And
car.
and you
I was
drove
like-
to Vegas?
And I just drove
Oh
home.
my
And I was like,
God.
you know what? Fuck this guy. I hate people like that.
Oh.
Worst type of person.
That's really
And he's like,
shitty.
we know all the same people, this and that. I'm like, you're an idiot. They all said you're an idiot. I don't care. So I left. Anyways, so I had committed to. So in spite, I'm building this
Oh
car.
my God,
so
that's
getting a
so
1J
funny.
swap, and then I have a Mark II GTI VR6.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great.
That's a pretty. So you've actually got a whole bunch of different little niches filled. Yeah.
So the
yeah.
Mark II GTI that was my childhood dream car. So for me, I'm like, I had to build it, but it's going to live in New York for most of its life.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
because Mark II GTIs belong on the southern state.
They belong on the southern state. But my brother doesn't even have extra space for it, but he'll take care of it. He's got E46 M3, a really nice one.
Nice.
But yeah, I always wanted that car, so I partnered with FCP Euro and we did
cool.
a little
They're
build
awesome.
on it.
Nice.
So we did the swap at their shop. We rebuilt the motor, put it all in, and I was supposed to go back and drive it over Christmas, but it snowed. I know.
Bullshit.
You forget about that.
That's why we left.
I know. You're like, man, I don't want to be inconvenienced by weather anymore. This sucks.
Yeah.
I met Jade from FCP at Car Week, and we were just talking about E46 stuff, and I was like, oh, man, these cars are just they're fun, but they're problematic. And he goes, we had to do all these DIY videos for FCP, so I just gave them my car, and they changed and fixed everything and made all the content. So mine actually doesn't have any of these problems. And I was like, well, good for you.
Yeah, they're all E46 M3s are so problematic.
When are you going to get yours?
We were
Probably
just
when I
talking
get
about
back.
that.
It's not done?
They hit all these snags, but then I also had to order more trim parts, which arrived today. I don't know.
boy.
I'm going to go over there today. So
Wrapping his car instead of painting it was the, quote, easier solution.
Oh, we were just talking about it because I'm wrapping. I'm having my shooter editor Jolly's JZX90 wrapped.
Okay.
And we brought it there. Has a fiberglass hood and bumpers, it's a body kit, and the body's not perfect. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to block all this, and we gotta fix this and that. And I was like, no, it's okay. It's just it doesn't have to be perfect. And they're like, we don't want to put out
60, bro. 60.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want to put stuff out there that's not quality though. So it's gonna take a month. I was like, holy shit! I know you guys would just slap it on.
no, they want all the panels to look really good so that
Yeah.
you don't see because
Zach's
good to
car
them.
doesn't
Good-
have any
good-
paint left on it. They sanded all the
Yeah.
paint off the car.
Good
Only
for
on the
them
hood,
for
technically.
doing a nice job.
Yes.
But bad for us having.
bad for the timeline. I understand completely. Yeah, yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, I respect the desire to do something nice.
I also, it's bad timing as well for me because this Taycan, unfortunately, only bad thing, it's white.
That's nice.
Not
Could be
for
black.
video.
No.
Black would be worse, but white is the second worst.
Really?
White looks good at night.
But not in thumbnails.
No.
So there's a video in making my car more YouTube thumbnail friendly, changing the color.
Are you
Yeah.
doing yellow?
Yeah,
Are you going to put a yellow outline on it?
I'm gonna put Jake Paul's face on the door, dude.
God.
It's gonna be the Jake Paul mobile.
I hope you're kidding, but also sort of hope you're not.
You wouldn't roll around LA in the fucking Jake Paul mobile. No, no, we can't. You can't do yellow, but you could
Yeah.
do something. You could do a nice,
Yeah.
a nice color that would just be brighter than white.
Yeah. I
White
feel you.
sucks.
Is there a car that's on your to buy list? Do you have a Mount Everest that you want to try to attain?
My Mount Everest is the 997 RS, 100%. So it's
Okay.
almost weird for me in the world where I'm I've achieved what I wanted, car-wise. I never thought I'd own one of those. So no, I think after that, it's just kind of enjoy as many cars that I want. So this year, or 2024-5, I want to do a series where I trade up from a Civic to a Lamborghini
Oh yeah,
in X amount of steps. So I want goal is to get a Gallardo or something.
That's-
But
I
people will
understand- I
think
like that.
Lamborghini, they'll be like, damn, he's going to get an Aventador. And I'm like, no, I'm going to
No.
clap
No,
that
dude, I'm getting a
shitbox
gel
Gallardo.
Yeah, gel is spot on.
Yeah.
Getting a fucking-
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think it'll be fun because I think I could turn a $10,000 Civic into a cheap Lamborghini and
I think
10,
you could
12
turn
steps.
a
Cool.
$10,000 Civic into at least a $32,000 Lamborghini that doesn't run.
no, it's got to run.
It has to run.
It's got to run.
There's rules.
Yeah, it's got.
Otherwise, it's
I
too
actually
easy.
didn't think about that, but yeah, there has to be rules. It has to be a running, driving
Mm-hmm.
car. I'm not gonna. God bless all of these YouTubers that could rebuild cars, but I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it. I can't get into that
So
world.
no co-part.
No
Okay.
Copart.
All right.
I mean, between Matt Armstrong and Goon Squad and Tavarish,
Yeah. No, we can't do that. We're regular
in what
people.
world?
Yeah.
One of them guys not? Is it Goon? Did they
Goon
just buy
Squad
the
just
Senna?
bought the Senna.
The Senna, which was actually, I think Freddie's P1 is worse because the Senna was just crashed, not flooded.
I don't know,
harness.
Freddie.
P1 is a MacBook that fell in the ocean.
The
I don't know
Yeah.
Freddie personally, but I've watched some of those videos, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing?
I ask myself that all the
And
time.
then Matt Armstrong bought the GT3 RS from a river, and you're just like, what? And they all do it and get it done, and I'm like, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
So I can't compete.
There's no such thing as totaled. It's just a math problem that doesn't come
Yeah.
out to a number that's
Yeah.
above zero.
And Freddie's been
You
doing
know, or
this.
whatever.
Freddie started doing this sort of when he wrote for Jalopnik, so that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You need that kind of experience to take on this shit.
Yeah, they're all Goon Squad. Literally, I started watching them a long time ago. Those guys are just heavy, frame damage body guys
Yeah.
who just started a YouTube channel, and now they're killing it. I love. Also, fun fact about them: my favorite thing about their channels, you don't know their names.
Really? I never watched their channel.
Oh, dude, their channel rules, but you don't know their names.
Really?
The whole thing.
Is that
It's
it's intentional?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
To keep him humble?
I don't know. You just don't know their names. It's great. I love that about them.
It doesn't matter. People just yell at them, Goon Squad on the street.
It's crazy. But yeah, people building cars on YouTube is crazy. I couldn't imagine.
I don't want to do that. No, I don't even want to be like mildly inconvenienced.
I love that. I want that to be my life motto.
That is the best answer for if someone says, do you work on your cars? Or they make a comment and you go, I don't even want to be mildly inconvenienced.
Yeah.
I want a loaner.
You can't own a Ford.
I had one. I'd buy another one. I would buy another Mach-E, but we're gonna find out for the next however long if a used Taycan at, did I say half price, dude?
Half price. I'm all about half price.
This thing had a fucking MSRP 2 years ago of $139,000, 64 grand.
How do people? That's
more than half.
I told Zach that earlier. Real wealth is buying assets that don't hold money. Because you're like, I'm so rich, I can just buy this car and lose 70 grand in 2 years.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Bentley and Aston Martin first owners are the richest people. Dude, they're just lighting on fire. Because I was driving that Bentley Hybrid, which is so sick, the new one.
Yeah.
And it was like the difference between someone who could spend, and the MSRP was 406. Okay, the difference between 406 in Bentley and 406 in Porsche, when it's the Porsche people are like making an investment, right? Bentley people, that's just your car.
Yeah,
that's your regular car.
Because like people always think that when they're like, people who don't get cars think I'm so financially irresponsible, and I hate the whole like invest in cars thing. That's a whole other topic that I don't understand how, whatever. But like having a 360 and like a Raptor and like the Porsche and stuff, you're like, these cars all will either incrementally go down or kind of stay where they're at.
Yeah.
So you're like, you could enjoy this and not spend a ton of money. Whereas like my neighbor who has 2 Tesla Model X's, I'm like, y'all probably spend $3 grand a month in car payments, and at the end of it, you just throw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like
there's those Plaid owners that lost $140,000.
There's a pretty decent bit of math to be done that could justify a low cost of enjoyment of those cars. You know what I mean? Of your cars.
Oh,
not
yeah.
Not the fucking Model X.
Yeah, I was like, what enjoyment?
No.
Yeah.
You don't like a yoke? No, your cars. Especially if you can do like the basic stuff that a dealer would charge a ton of money for.
Yeah.
If you're doing that, like...
I mean, me and my brother growing up, like we didn't have money, so we pretty much just tried to own cars for free.
Yeah.
So like we wouldn't flip cars, but we would always joke that we just stay ahead of the depreciation curve. So you'd buy a car, you drive it for like 9 months, keep it nice, like maintain it and stuff, and then get rid of it. Because then you could get into something else before the mileage and stuff like hits your car's depreciation.
Yeah,
so we always did that.
92,000.
You started doing that in like high school or college?
Probably like my third car. Like once I got I think my third car was a STI. And I bought a 05 STI with 20,000 miles on it for 20 grand, which was like pretty sick.
An STI is a great third car.
Yeah. I think it was my third. I had a Mark III GTI that I bought for like $4,000. I traded that for a Mark IV GTI. Oh, it's fourth car. And then I traded that for a Mark V GTI.
Woo!
And then I sold that and bought the STI. But yeah, so
then you came to your senses.
Yeah, once I did that, we were like, like you're your daily driver, so you're putting a ton of miles on it, and then you're like, damn, this car is going to like tank in value. So we sold it, bought something else, kind of did that. And we realized that you could pretty much like stay ahead of the curve, but you have to be willing to get rid of the cars that you like. Mm-hmm. Like I have a friend, he's always like, I wish I could do what you do. He's like, I just can't get rid of cars.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just got to be like willing to kind of like jump through. And like you said, not being inconvenienced. It's the most inconvenient thing ever.
Yeah. Buying and selling cars is work. That's
huge
why
inconvenience.
It's people's full-time job.
I have a really high threshold for inconvenience. So
There's
I'm like,
a title for that.
You drove to Vegas with an engine and then turned around. Yeah.
I'm a huge inconvenience person because I'm like, if I can make money, inconvenience, like I'm dumb. I don't know.
I just tell myself I could do my own thing for an hour and earn enough money to pay the person who's going to do the thing right on my car.
See, I don't think I'm there yet.
No?
No.
You think the value of a mechanic is worth more than the value of Vin? I completely disagree with that. I think
It depends on what's being done.
I think you're undervaluing yourself. Maybe compared to Ferrari of Newport Beach.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Ferrari, I don't know. I'll definitely earn less than a tech, but or they're hourly, but yeah.
Or if you can wrench on something and turn it into a reel that actually makes money or whatever.
Vin, if anyone out there is a Ferrari dealer technician, anonymously send us a note and tell us what you make. Just curious.
I meant like they're hourly, like getting like billable.
Oh, the billable?
Yeah, it's probably a lot. What do they probably charge like $250
it's
bucks
probably
an hour.
At least.
$250.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I would ever like itemize what I make per hour. I'm not sure.
I think you probably could afford it if you did, but still, I understand.
Yeah, but I won't.
But what does a Ferrari technician make? What do you think? What do you think he gets of that? Or
I don't know, $100,000 a year. Nah, got to be more.
Probably
Beverly Hills, cost of living in LA, probably like $150 a year.
$150.
Yeah,
I would say
if you're good. Right?
They charged me $1,100 for a C-Tech battery tender that had the magnet for the 488 on it. $1,200.
Holy shit.
Ferrari branded. You can't use any other tender. That's how you connect the tender.
I hope
to
Google AI is wrong because it says that the average salary for a Ferrari technician in the U.S. is $48,000 a year.
That's got to be wrong.
Now that might be including mom and pop shops or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know,
wrong.
but that's probably wrong.
Otherwise. Maybe there's a scandal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Come work for Matt's business. He'll pay you $50,000 a year.
I'll pay you more than that to park cars, and we do.
Yeah, you have to here. Yeah, I mean, the cost of living in LA is insane.
Of course you do. Yeah. And fucking health insurance and everything. Zach, what do we have going on the Patreon? A bunch.
Wow.
A lot.
Reddit says it sucks to work as a Ferrari tech.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's right. $48K, guys. What if they pay the Ford guys more?
This guy said he went to Ferrari from BMW and he's getting paid the same money.
Don't techs make money off of like knocking out jobs?
I think they do.
Yeah, so it's got to be like scalable.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the Patreon because we have a lot. And of course, I wanted to give you some James May gin.
Oh, awesome.
For joining us on. They sent us a case. So
James May?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He came and did the show and then sent us all this gin, and it's so good. It's
40% alcohol by volume.
It is, 80 proof. That's
normal.
Gin. That's normal.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm not a gin drinker, but my girlfriend likes gin. So
you should really try some of that. That's really good. Me and Marco from TLG had a little gin tasting session the other night. It was very good.
Yes, I love that.
Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. If you want to get in on the Patreon action, we had a lot of new people joining in the fall, November and December. Big months. It was great. Thank you guys for your support going into the new year. And, of course, if you want to ask questions of us or our guests, if you want to get the show ad-free, if you want to get the show ahead of time, if you want to watch the live stream, if you want an extra podcast every month and more, patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is where you do it. Yeah.
Love it.
Curated by Zach. Tim A. says... what are some of the best OEM Plus mods that can bridge the gap between a base car and its higher models?
Ooh, I like that.
For instance, Pelican Parts sells the Porsche OEM magnetic Weissach shift paddles for $1,000, compatible with every PDK 992.
Honestly,
that would be cool.
Yeah,
that's $1,000 well spent, I think.
Could be, yeah. I also think like just the basics. Because best example I have of this, my friend has Alex Bernstein. He had a C2S, and it just had suspension, wheels, tires, exhaust, and like a shifter.
Yeah.
And it was nowhere near comparable to a GT3, but it offered a great driving experience. So I think like you just do the basics. Like making a car OEM Plus isn't going to make it the same as like you're not going to make your Cayman S into a GT4, but you could make it more fun to drive.
But you could, if you had, the Cayman S is a good example. You could do lightweight wheels and good tires. You can do bigger brakes. You can do the gear ratios. You can do light flywheel and exhaust.
Gear ratios and light flywheel is expensive, but I just think like, it's good tires, good brakes, like suspension, exhaust, all that stuff's going to make your car better.
But gear ratios, I would consider OEM plus, right? Because you're not like messing up anything else.
It's a big investment, though.
It is, yeah. 4K Libya. that's Warzone reference. Matt talked about the first time he'd seen a Countach before. What is the car or moment that you realized how much you love cars? Whimsical question.
Yeah, it has to be a 70 Chevelle for me. My dad wanted a 70 Chevelle my entire life. So it's all I heard about growing up as a kid. We'd always look at those on like, we'd look for them in like the bylines and stuff. Remember those? Like the picture newspapers that you would get?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
He wanted one so bad. He always had model cars and stuff. We always talked about cars. So that is like the car for me. I'm actually going to do a project with that car this year. So I'm going to bring it out to California. I'm going to like rebuild it for my dad.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
and it's
good.
like, it'll be like an OEM plus rebuild. So not going to do like a restoration, but it's going to like modernize it a bit and just make it a good driver. So I'm excited for that.
Great.
Yeah.
Dre in Houston, any injuries occurred on any builds?
Injuries? No, I've been pretty lucky. Although I was cutting the fenders on the Ferrari recently, and the grinder, like, I was cutting something towards me, and the grinder, like, jumped at my face, and I literally was like, wow, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah,
I almost just, like, sliced my face with a cutoff wheel. So I've been pretty lucky. I'm going to softly knock on wood about that.
You can bang on the table if it's like literally for effect. You know?
Yeah.
Einhorn is Finkel. If you had to keep only one car of your recent projects, would it be the Ferrari or the GTI?
It'd be the Ferrari. I just use it the most, and as much as I love the Mark II GTI, I don't know, something like it's so dumb to say, but like just driving a Ferrari is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Very
You know,
cool.
like,
I think what's
it's
funnier is
so
that you
dumb
said
to
you
say.
use the Ferrari really often, and the GTI was designed to be used every day for every task.
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll be fun too. But like,
It shouldn't be controversial for someone to go, would you rather keep your Volkswagen or your Ferrari? And for you to go, I think the Ferrari.
but notice that like if I had to keep one car, one fun car, it would not be the GT3 RS. It's too special for
Right,
me.
of
I wouldn't
course.
enjoy it
You need
enough.
versatility.
Yeah, I need the versatility if I'm going to have one.
Yeah, the one car. It's that 400 horsepower mid-engine manual transmission doesn't ride too stiff.
Yeah.
See also Lotus Evora. See also a bunch of other cars. NSX.
Yeah.
El Gato. What drivers era cars are still slept on? Vice versa. What is overrated?
I
300
think
ZXs are still a little slept on.
are they good?
They're nice. A nice one is really nice. A nice one drives well.
I think ones that are slept on, that's tough. I mean, the car market boomed so much in recent years that like what's left that's like a good deal. I mean, C6 Z06s are still like affordable.
Yeah.
Those are great cars. I think like you could still get an E46 M3, E92 M3 for good prices.
True.
They're
C7
higher than they
Grand
were.
Sports?
C7, yeah,
C7 Grand Sports are really nice.
I can't think of anything that I think is like slept on. It's sort of the problem with our culture today of like everything is blown out. Like there's no secret. You know, get a C5 Z06 for like 20 grand. Those things are sick.
I mean, you can get a really nice luxury EV with a very long warranty for half price right now. So.
Yeah, that might be slept on.
What might cool down, I think, is like kind of everything. Everything that's not limited low production. So, or like overly special. Like your NSX, never going to go down. GT3 RS, never going to go down. I will say, like cars like the E92, like E90 M3, E46s that were up, you could see them coming down because they made 40,000 E90 and E92 M3s. So like they're not rare; they just kind of went up. So I think like cars will simmer back down. You could even see it in like the Porsche market and like this regular C2.
Yeah,
C4s,
like regular
like,
911s are pretty reasonable.
They're
right
coming
now,
back,
actually.
and I think it's cool to see that because
It's actually a good time to buy a 997. My
Base.
friend was just looking. Yeah, like a Carrera or Carrera S.
Yeah.
It's a good time to get in on one of them.
I think 991 GT3s, 991.1 GT3s are going to be it. I mean, I just saw one listed the other day for 108. Had 50,000 miles, lightweight buckets, front axle lift, steel brakes.
Is that a replacement engine car?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But that's great. For
That's
100K,
amazing.
I mean, that's a sick car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of car for $100,000 bucks.
Yeah. I don't think those will go much lower than that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude, so in preparation for this likely closing Taycan purchase today, I rented one on Turo
wow, that's so responsible of you.
for my wife to drive. She wanted to try it. And so I rented a base Taycan rear drive, a 2021, had 49,000 miles on it. And
49,000 Turo miles.
Turo miles. And it was $370 for 4 days.
Wow. What?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so
For 4
Crazy
days.
cheap.
under
It was cheap.
$100 a day?
Yeah.
That's sick.
It was great. Delivered, by the way. That much delivered to my home.
What the heck?
So and picked up. And so I drove this thing around, and she drove it around. I got to say, base Taycans are so slept on. This thing was still quick. It felt like driving a Cayman in the canyons. With the rear drive only, the steering is the best of all the Taycans. And I'm telling you, this still felt like a $100,000 car, even though to buy a car like this would probably be $52,000 right
That's
now.
sick. I love that. I could just never own an EV because I don't have charging at my house. And
you have a driveway and a garage. You could easily solve that problem.
But it's like $8,000 to put in.
No, it's not.
How much is it to install charging?
It's not. The charger itself is like $300 or $400 for
what
a
does it
physical.
charge off of?
It's $240. So you have an electrician run a 240 line somewhere. It's probably like, I bet it's like not even $1,500 total to wire your house for an EV.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, I'm not.
But
not
it's
like
slow,
that's
it's slow
nothing.
charge, right?
Mine charges at 11 kilowatts.
Okay.
So our Mach-E was like 83 kilowatts. So at 11, it charges in about 7 hours if it was totally dead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, level
Not that
2.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally good.
Yeah.
You should get one at your house because like eventually you will have an electric car.
I don't know.
You
pretty resilient to being dumb.
They're pretty nice, dude. They're pretty nice for running around.
I like
LA.
running around town.
For running around town, they're nice.
I
man.
had a couple EVs, just like press loaners, Hummer EV, and some
that doesn't.
That's
count.
not a good one.
Ioniq 5Ns.
That's a good one.
Those
And,
are good fun. You were there on the launch.
Yeah, they're fine, but I just like the charging infrastructure just isn't there for me currently.
Well,
Yeah.
we will figure it out if I drive to Detroit and then or fly to Detroit and then have to drive this thing fucking back.
Oh, you're gonna hell yeah! I had
drive
one of
back.
the worst experiences of my life was road tripping in an EV. So good luck.
the last.
It's gotten better.
When
The
was
infrastructure's
it?
gotten better.
Freaking 3 months ago.
Oh, really?
shit.
Where
Yeah.
did you
Okay.
go?
Monterey and back.
Oh, well, that should only
that
be
should
a
be
one
fine.
stop each way. Really.
Nah, I was in a car with low range.
Oh, was it
Yeah.
Kia EV6 GT?
No.
Or was it?
No, it was Ioniq 5N.
Oh, yeah,
They only
they-
get like 200 miles. or
Yeah, the
something,
range
so.
isn't very good on those.
Yeah.
Unless you're going like 68, which nobody does.
No,
Not on
yeah.
the fucking 5.
No, yeah. But we ran into a bunch of. Was nothing wrong with the Hyundais. It was just running into a bunch of like dead chargers,
Yep.
chargers that don't work.
Oh, that
like,
sucks.
Lines at chargers.
Lines, like just nonsense, you know. And we were like not prepared for it. I'm sure it gets better as you get better at it, but
In my experience, it's gotten better in the last 12 months than it was. It was like bad.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay. And I have friends who road trip EVs all the time and don't seem to talk about very many problems.
You can run it, but if you're on a tight schedule, like
Yeah.
we did that the Lucid Drive.
Yeah.
And we had to wait for the charger to open up when we got to Kettleman City.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, if you're on a tight schedule, shoot schedule something, and you have to add 20 minutes on top of the 25 or 30 minutes to charge,
Yeah.
it can just have an effect.
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough.
So 2,300 miles.
Good luck.
The car should have about
What's the
300
range
mi-
on that?
It's about 300.
Okay.
So
In
that's
the cold, I'm sure you'll get like 110.
true.
You should put snow tires on it and find an ice race. I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah.
It will be the best.
Yeah, well, that can be a thing we do. If they do this ice race thing again in Aspen, maybe we just
You could
drive
time it,
to
yeah.
Aspen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a cool event.
Yeah. Oh, did you go?
I was there last year. Yeah.
Oh, did you drive something?
Yeah.
What did you drive?
Golf R.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the track really cool?
I think they need to allow studs because unstudded ice racing is very slow.
Yes, it is.
So it's not exciting to watch. Yeah, and our car didn't have snow tires; it had like all seasons.
Oh,
so it
forget
was
it.
really like it was about just managing understeer. But Tanner Faust gave us some driving lessons, which was sick. I just wish we had more time to learn.
He's so good.
I love Tanner.
He's so good.
I never really like. I didn't know how to drive in snow. I mean, I grew up in New York and used to like fuck around. But Tanner was like to both me and the other guys there. He was like, "You guys are driving like high school kids in a parking lot." And he's like, and we're like, "No shit, that's the only experience I have doing this."
Yeah.
So it was really fun because he would like. You don't counter steer in all-wheel drive. Like you just like chuck it in and then you just keep the wheel pointed straight even though you're going that way.
Yeah.
So like coming from a rear drive person, I would always be like wanting to counter steer and he would like
brings it
slap
back
my
out.
hand like straight. And then also initiating into turns like
The huge
so early when you're like
slowest huck.
Yeah, you're
big
like
old Scandies.
Yeah.
you're like it just feels so unnatural.
Yeah.
And I was bummed because I wish we had more time because like driving lessons from Tanner Faust, like that sounds expensive. It sounds like something I shouldn't have access
Sounds
to.
like
you know?
I bet almost no one can get that because he's just
Right.
too busy.
Did
Yeah,
you know,
that's
by
a
the
great
way, so
time.
I went to Finland to drive the electric Cayman race car thing, and they also let us drive GT4 Club Sports on studded tires on the ice track, which,
that sounds
if you're
epic.
wondering if that was the best car experience I've ever had, it was. Much better than
It
the
sounds
electric
like it. Yeah, I would imagine so.
But what they have in, but it was short. I was only there for one day, and it was short. But one thing they do is apparently, if you're a VIP enough, you can hire through Porsche, like Hurley or Jorg Bergmeister or whatever,
No way.
to be flown to the ice track to teach you private lessons.
Wow, you know what? In summary,
Ice track.
Zach, this is something we might not know. In summary, money could get you anything.
Kids, if you're listening,
Yeah.
Take
you have
notes.
money. It gets you access to almost any. Your dreams are possible. Is basically
Yeah.
the lesson.
Bad Gardener, what are some I can't believe we put this together moments at Hoonigan? That might be more of a Scotto, but
You know, I think kind of all of it. Like Hoonigan was definitely one of those things that existed beyond, existed despite not being able to exist. I mean, like we made YouTube content in a yard no bigger than like your parking lot.
we drove by the other day. I was like, wow, that's a fucking place.
We had companies pay us millions of dollars to make like ridiculous shows. Like everything about it was back in the good days. Like everything about it was like, I can't believe this is actually happening thing. You know, I used to joke with Scotto all the time because he would come up with these insane ideas as he does. And then we would all be like, you know, this just doesn't sound possible. But then over the years, we would work towards it and like then do it. And it was like the Rolls Royce, the Donk, like all these like build and battle shows and stuff. It's all shit that we spoke about, but it seemed like it would never happen. And then like you pick up momentum and then you're like, I was the one doing all the deals and stuff. And we'd be like, oh, wow, now this company actually paid us to build the Donk. And oh, this company is having us do the Rolls Royce. And oh, we could actually do this show where we build a set and create two different segments for teams and build these crazy cars and take them racing. Like, so yeah, I don't know. All of it was kind of like, wow, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He was just here saying, talking about the cars themselves, and
Yeah.
kind of wish we could snag some of them from.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we have to talk about it, but like some of the cars got left places.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
when
he's
all
talking
the
about.
shit happened, a couple of the people reached out and they were like, hey, we still have this vehicle. What do we do? Or who should I contact? And I'd be like, keep it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to get stuffed in a warehouse somewhere. And just recently, pictures of the 632 Camaro surfaced, and I was like, fuck, I'm so bummed. This was Chevrolet's development vehicle through the 90s. Like the car they developed parts for.
Yeah,
and it's
Scotto
just
was
sitting
telling us.
outside Buena Park under a cover.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, that sucks. Like,
Yeah.
that's such a piece of history for them. I wish they could keep it.
We could buy it.
We need it. Yeah.
You don't want to buy any. Never buy cars built off YouTube. Except if it's not mine, because I just modify them. I don't build them. So
Yeah. Buy
know.
his cars.
Anything on the next page, Zach? Is that it? Oh, here we go. Let's see.
Go to the question.
The question. Okay. Scotto thought that Vin had the most successful and interesting channel out of all the ex-Hoonigans, which is true. He did say that. How do you attribute that, and are you having any fun?
Oh, hell yeah. Well, one, thanks, Scotto. So I think the reason why my channel performs pretty well, given its size, is I don't make, like, my content isn't super self-serving, which I think, like, a big thing for YouTube, like, some people think YouTube is like, go do fun stuff and make a video about it. And it's like, I don't really think that's true for new YouTubers. I think maybe like the Adam LZs, the TJ Hunts, like the old school people who have that like vlog model, because you were never a vlogger. You always made like a show concept.
Yeah.
But I think like vloggers, old day, were like, come with me to have a crazy life. Now I think there's too much of that. And I don't want to compete with Adam LZ. He's got crazy everything, right?
Yeah. He has a drift course outside of his
So
driveway.
for me, I think I take a step back and I'm like, what video can I make that people will enjoy? And sometimes I deviate from it because I need to fill a gap. But like next year specifically, I want to like make videos that people will like. So rather than doing like nonsense and just hoping people watch it, I'm like, what do I think people will like to watch? And then I make it. Or like, what can people learn? And then I can make it. So am I having fun? Yeah. Is it less fun than if I was just like, we're going to the track, boys. Let's go. Another track day with the team, 5,000 views, but I'm just going to the track. But so I'm having less fun than doing whatever the hell I want. But I mean, like, you guys live the life, like, work is hard and work sucks some days. But at the end of the day, like, we have way cooler jobs than most people.
Yeah,
True.
it's not bad.
Like there's some days I don't want to make videos, or like I have to shoot that day and I'm just like not in the mood or feel like shit or think I suck and I'm like have no confidence to make a video, and then you do it and you're like, like
Yeah. And then it's your best performing video of the year if it's the case of me and shitting on a Cybertruck. Yep.
Still one of my favorite videos you've ever made. So.
Shitting on things is fun. Once a year, you should really take a dump on something. It's very good for
That's
the soul.
on my Patreon. So
Nathan Reynolds says, it's the year is 2004 and you're seeking a track day exotic special, 996 GT3 RS or Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale.
360 Challenge Stradale all day. Sorry.
Yes.
I mean, if your pockets could afford it, like I think the Challenge Stradale is incredible.
Someone had a manual swapped one that was.
I drove one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, my friend Barrett. He's like close with the Ryan Friedman guys. He's got a manual swap Challenge Stradale
Is
with
it
like
the best?
60,000 miles. It is incredible. It's so nice.
That's the right car.
Yeah, it's crazy that I drive that and then drive mine, and you could feel the money difference. Like. Mine is a car, but it's still kind of crappy. Like you get in a Challenge Stradale, and it like everything is Alcantara and nice.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn, this is sick.
Yeah. Here for Matt's Cats. How do you work an exhaust for a smaller displacement engine to give it some character without being too loud or farty sounding?
Quiet.
Yeah.
Keep it quiet. I have a Hyundai Elantra N. It sounds okay. The best exhaust for it is quiet. Like, if your car sounds like shit, just don't make it loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get away with focusing on intake sound, like induction.
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be
a
more
good
fun.
cheat.
Like me,
Yeah.
I think
That's a good
E46s
cheat.
with exhaust sound bad. I just don't like them.
Most. Not all.
But I think the induction sound is good.
Yeah.
So I would just do that.
I agree. Zach is 100% right. If your car, if with an exhaust your car sounds stupid, keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Like, it's true.
Or if your car has a traditional automatic slush box, don't
Yes.
put an exhaust.
Yeah, also that. I think there's just sometimes there's just innate qualities to the sound that you can't really fix or change with a muffler.
Yeah, the IS300.
350Z.
Although, 100%. The IS300 is a 2J, but it's NA. Slow, makes no power. Mine has an intake on it. And honestly, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Like, the engine sounds so throaty that you're right. Like, the intake noise is enough. Like, you don't need.
Yeah, I had a
the rest.
VR6 Jetta for a while. I put an intake on it. I thought I was the king of the world, man.
Dude,
I
and
loved
you
that
kind
shit.
of were.
Yeah, you were right there. Tootie's Last Heater. That's an AYG reference. Vin, favorite trip or event from 2024?
Oh my God. This is where you realize I have the memory of an absolute goldfish.
Yeah.
Like, what did I
You have to
do
pull
in
up your calendar?
2024? Yeah. I would say probably my favorite trip was either my race at Road America, because my parents came out and my girlfriend was there and Ron and Jolly, and we had and it was my birthday, and we had a great weekend, and I didn't crash my car in the first
Racing
race.
at Road America is a superb experience. Road
Terrifying,
America is the
yeah.
best.
Road America is great. So scary, though.
Yeah.
So fast.
We haven't even talked about your race season.
Well, in short, my race season debuted at Road America in the rain. Wow. What a place to learn how to race. There's so many sections on that track where you're just top of fifth gear. And you're like, I'm going so fast for so long.
Yeah.
And you have so much time to think about how fast you're going. And it's
You really
also
do have a lot of time to consider your speed. That track.
yeah, it sucks.
Funny.
But I won an award at that race for hard charger, most positions advanced.
Oh, all
Because I was
right,
a
there you
really
go.
confident passer. Because I would just fucking outbrake people into turn 5.
In the rain, that's impressive too.
I got lucky. So racing is weird because rain is considered when it's drenched and you have to run rain tires. Otherwise, it's just kind of wet. So I was on slicks, in the sort of wet, which is terrifying.
Yeah, that's not great.
But I also learned that I have no desire to become a race car driver because I'm not rich. So I watched a dude on my team Friday during practice. He got outside of the dry line at the kink, which is, if for everyone who doesn't know, fifth gear, flat out, you lift off the gas, get grip on the front, turn in, and accelerate. So you're going fast as fuck.
Yeah.
Went off, and sorry, I left out the most important part. The wall is 1 foot from the track out curve. Not kidding.
Yeah.
So he crashed his car, scrapes up the side, messed up the suspension and stuff. $12,000 in damage.
How many hours later did a new car appear?
No. His crew chief, this dude Alex, total G, had to have come from like the World Rally space, fixing this thing in the pouring rain, just hurricaning, and he's just laying in a puddle, just changing suspension arms and stuff. I'm like, hell yeah. Next day, race 1, BMW spins out in front of him. He T-bones this thing, totals the car, $88,000.
Ooh.
His dad comes out and is just like, "That's racing." I'm like,
100 G's.
100 G's in
100 G's
24 hours.
plus
being
Jeff,
at the race.
Jeff Ricker, the team owner, was like, we won't charge him like the whole price because he's like, I'll pull the Motec out of it. I'll do this. Like, I'll find ways to make it more affordable for them. But like, could you imagine going on a trip that already costs like tens of thousands of dollars and then like getting $60K in damage? But then we learned that
in 2 days.
a dude in a GT3 car, which is top dog class, had a blowout. So the tire exploded, ripped up the fender liner, all the sensors and stuff in the wheel well, $60,000. Imagine having a $60,000 blowout. Like, and that was
Without
one of those
hitting the
moments.
wall.
Without crashing into the car.
You haven't crashed.
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments where I was like, I could never afford to be a race car driver.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have crazy wealth or it has to be a huge business write-off.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, Hyundai was like, our deal with Hyundai was basically we don't have to worry about damage as long as it's not blatant negligence.
Okay.
Like if it's raining and you dive bomb in a corner and smash up a bunch of cars, well,
Yeah.
you're going to be liable. But like if someone crashes into you or if you just go off track, like we'll handle it. So we were very fortunate because I knew I was like, I'm not that aggressive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and like total my car on
But like,
purpose.
listen, I can't afford to fix this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that.
Yeah.
handy.
I just was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Imagine like a $60,000 or $80,000 weekend.
Dude,
like,
people are doing this shit in Ferraris.
Ferrari
and
Challenge is fun to
Ferrari
watch.
Challenge is insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the money in racing is just wild.
Yeah.
But it's so fun.
It is.
Yeah. If
What
I was like
series was it?
That was SRO touring
Okay.
car. Yeah. So I was hoping we would do some of it this year, but again, this is like pulling the curtain back on YouTube. Is if Hyundai was like, hey, you could race a full season of touring car, I tell them no. Because
You couldn't do
it's
anything
not
else.
content.
Yeah.
And I would have to take a week off every month, essentially, to go racing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't make the same video, 7 times.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you guys know, like taking a week off of something that has to come out on a schedule is like
it's like
pretty
pretty
rough.
much not possible.
It's
Yeah.
rough.
It just compresses the next week or the week before, so you get double videos. You make double videos, and then
Yeah, it's tough. So I'm like, I wouldn't do it. But racing is so fun. I love it so much. I wish I could do it more.
It is, and like I've found ways. Like I do it for fun sometimes. Like I'll buy my way onto a a spec E36 or whatever team and have a good weekend.
I'm going to do 2 races this year, confirmed. One with Garagistic. They're like a BMW brand down in OC. They have an E36 touring car. We're going to do an Enduro.
Cool.
And then Chase Bays out in Alabama, we're going to do 12 hours at Road Atlanta in their
that'll be fun.
GT86.
Oh,
and
great.
that stuff is
Oh,
great.
that'll be
yeah,
awesome.
that'll scratch my itch for the
That's
whole year. And I'll be like,
no-brainer.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
There's a lot of floorboard in the 86 at Road Atlanta. That back straight is going to be long. You're going to be.
Oh God, yeah. Honestly, though, I'd be happy to go slow on that straight.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine.
Because, like, I don't know. There's so much mental fatigue when you're just like doing like in a super fast car. The straights are not a time to relax. In a
Yeah.
slow car, you're like, okay, give me a good breather.
When I did one lap of America, which was really fun. Maybe that
Do
is
they still
worth
do
doing.
it?
They do still do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
They still do it. It's really hard too. It's
Is
hard.
it?
It's exhausting, and
Oh,
it's
God.
really fun.
I should do the 360.
Lee, you should. It'd
Yeah.
be fun. Lee Keen did it the year I was there.
Yeah.
and he had a R35 GTR with
Great car to do it
with
in,
the
jeez.
Aero Motions wing, like active aero and stuff. And he was like. He was so far ahead of everybody else, and that everybody would just come to the track to watch. his lap.
Yeah.
And this was like in the early days of like really good in-car video. So he had video running. So after, I was friends with him. So afterwards, I would look at his in-car video, and during the straightaways while running like a blistering lap, he'd be like changing the radio stations and like blasting, like just shuffling through shit that had nothing to do with the car.
That's so
was
funny.
Because compared to wheel to wheel or qualifying, he's like, this is 87% of my brain power or whatever.
I love that. One of my friends, Jeremiah Burton from now Big Time, used to be Donut. You should have him come on here. But he crashed during touring car because he was playing with his Motec screen trying to change something and missed a braking zone.
Oh, that's,
no.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't have the ability while actually racing to do some unrelated shit.
Dude,
that's hard.
So there's so much going on. It's like sensory overload that. So the cars that I was racing had like 2 settings. One of them, setting 1, keeps traction control on like very minimal. They're like, use this for the first lap and a half while your tires are still cold. So it'll prevent you from spinning out. But immediately change it after they're warmed up so you get, because it like delays throttle. I did like 2 races with it completely on setting 1 because you just forget.
Yeah.
And you have to like hit it and then hold it and then wait for like a light to flash and then release. Which sounds easy, but when you have like cars everywhere and stuff, like your brain just can't do so much at once.
Dude,
Yeah,
even
that's
like
a lot.
during press launches sometimes when I'll be having to like make a video while on like a group press track,
yeah.
And it's like I'm trying to get the right settings in and I'll do the whole shit and then be like, wait, I didn't even have it in the right mode? Like, fuck.
You know what's funny? Because just recently I make these shows, it's like 1 car, 3 different price points. So I did like GTR, I did Skyline GT, GTT, and a GTR.
Okay.
I've done like base, C6, Grand Sport, and a ZR1.
That's cool.
And I look up all my facts and I get all my info and I know most of the crap, but like you get all the right stuff. But then when you like present and are like filming and driving and doing all this stuff, like I said a couple things wrong.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch it in the edit.
Oh, yeah.
And people just like eviscerate.
They light you
for
on
it.
fire.
And you're like, do you know how hard it is to do all this stuff at once?
100%.
Oh, it's the worst feeling in the world.
It's that
Because I know exactly what you mean. Like, 'cause you're getting in a car and you're setting up cameras, you got a timeline, like you're like getting in, you're driving it, and you're like,
Tom
I just
Hanks isn't
left this
fiddling
thing
with
up.
the fucking lights for a reason. He has a job to do that isn't lights.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, your job is all of it. Your job
job is all
is
of it,
lights. Your
yeah.
job is everything. Yeah. My job is like, wait, did I hit speed on the audio recorder? And they're like, fucking go. And I'm like, what?
It's so funny because I was just thinking about making a video because it's going to be my 1 year on YouTube coming up in the next like few weeks. And I wanted to make a video about like surviving YouTube and then doing a thing that's like that.
Yeah.
Where like no one realizes all the jobs that go into it. And
That's
coming
pretty funny.
from a big company like Hoonigan, like where you had people who did things. Like we hired TV level producers and showrunners and people to do stuff. And then you do it on your own and you're like, oh, I did this whole podcast. I forgot to plug in the mic because I've never ran audio before in my life.
I've done that. You do a car review and then you get done and you look down at the audio recorder and I'm just like, fuck! Because I hit 3 buttons, but I hit that one twice because I thought I'd hit it before, and I'm like, well, do I fix the GoPro audio or do I review the car again? Angry. But now I know the facts better, but I'm mad.
Dude. And when it's done, right, which is most of the time, you then go, but what are all those other people doing? I was just able to do all this completely by myself. The fuck is your job? Why do you need to be here?
Straight up.
Our friend was making a documentary and just like came in here with like 2 camera guys and a sound guy and whatever. And he was asking, I was like, I don't know what these people need to be here for. I was like, we're filming you on iPhones.
For all the time, like I think I try hard on YouTube, whatever, and then you watch Cletus. And you're like, Cletus has the best business model ever. But it's also because he's like so deep into it that he's just doing insane stuff.
He's
but, like,
very committed.
He films on his cell phone. And I was with Jeremiah the other day when Cletus broke his record by putting the body on the Corvette. His Corvette.
His Corvette that had no body.
Had no body. He put like a fiberglass body on it, and it went like half a second faster.
No, it turns out arrows real.
Which is like 7s. He's like running 7s. And I was with Jeremiah, or I was on the phone with him, and he was like, I can't believe he posted this. He was like, I talked to him today, and he was at the track. He's like, so
he just went-
he did
he
this
posted it
today.
like-
He
shot
posted
it,
it at like
posted-
4:45 on a Wednesday, and by like 8 p.m. it had a million views, and you're like,
That's
crazy,
wild.
yeah.
Because
That's
like if the
full
content
commitment.
you're documenting is
It's
is
good,
that,
then it does
is
the
that insane?
production value
Yeah,
doesn't even matter.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
him with a cell phone, just like.
But
doing
if you're doing the crazy shit,
Yeah.
that's wild.
yeah.
Like the videos that go
It is.
viral
And he owns a
because the
racetrack.
moment is so insane. Even when the cameraman like pans down, and
Yeah.
most of the comments are like, "Cameraman, you had one job to do." It's like, yes, but everyone's still watching this
Yeah.
because the first 10 seconds
The
are
thing
nuts.
is crazy enough.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Happy New Year, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks
for
for having
spending our last pod. This one's going to be up for a while because Zach and I are taking off the month of January.
Nice. I was debating doing that.
Our first time ever doing it.
I did it last year because I hadn't even planned to do YouTube, and I just quit my job. So I went on vacation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take off this January, but then I fucked up and I missed 2 weeks of content. So I'm like,
So
well,
now you
now I
have
don't
to
get to
catch
take
up.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're taking off podcast
Nice.
in the month of January.
Enjoy, that's
hopefully I'll have something to talk about because I'll have driven an electric car across the country.
There's a lot, man.
And
It'll be a lot.
there's a lot of travel. GT3 launch in January too. The new GT3.
Oh, I don't get invited to any of that stuff. Get me in.
It's an uphill road to get there. You know what
Yeah.
gets me in?
Yeah.
Road and track.
Yeah, yeah.
The smoking tire, I don't think would qualify for things like
No
that.
shit.
But road and track does.
992.2? Mm-hmm. Okay. Not
Yeah.
hybrid yet, right?
No,
Okay.
the GT3s will be the last to go hybrid. For
Oh,
sure.
okay, cool.
I suspect the Turbo S will be hybrid.
Yeah.
and it'll be a fucking monster.
Do they have to be so fast? what are you doing?
I talked someone out of a Turbo S last weekend and into a GTS, which I think is
Nice.
all the
Yeah.
911
That's
you
plenty
really
fast.
need.
Yeah.
It's real
I
fast.
went for a
Super
ride.
fast.
What is the new Lamborghini thing? The V12?
Oh, the Revuelto.
Yeah.
that's all right, isn't it?
I went for a ride in that in Angeles Crest, and I was like, "Get me the fuck out of this thing!" No, I was like, "This, like you're like, it feels like we're doing 300, like you're doing 300 miles an hour. It feels like you're doing like 50."
It's pretty
Yeah.
insane, isn't it?
Yeah, I
the ride quality and everything about that car
Crazy.
is pretty amazing.
Cars are nuts.
They're amazing right now.
In
Yeah.
closing,
You've
cars
been in
are
a
crazy.
750, right?
No,
No.
no.
Oh,
McLaren?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we need to make because once you try that, everything else is fucking lame as hell. Once you've been in a 750,
Yeah, I just don't know.
they're the best.
I just can't understand how fast cars are. Like
Yeah.
I drive my RS up the mountain and stuff, and I'm like, going 60 feels like you might die, and I love that about it. And then you go in these new cars, and you're like, I feel nothing, and
Yeah.
it's so fast.
In my
Yeah.
NSX 70 feels like 100 because
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
The McLarens, I think the sensation of speed is accurate, but the power to weight is so obscene. And the way that power is delivered,
Yeah.
you will get wheel spin like in fourth,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
I went in Damon Senna.
Yeah,
That
like
thing
that.
is crazy.
Feels
It's
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
the
it's
750 is just like that.
Yeah.
The Senna's just louder inside
Yeah.
because they're just rocks hitting the wheel wells and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that thing was bonkers. Also, they're at the old Hoonigan studio,
Which
Compton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
funny.
we went out in the Senna, and then you're like driving back past like
In Compton.
homeless RVs and like tent camps everywhere, and we're just in this like $2 million flame throwing carbon fiber thing, and I'm like, cool. What is this world? This world sucks.
Yeah. But we got to find a way to get
Yeah.
you to try one of them.
Sign me up.
All right, people. Happy New Year. TST 2024. I think we're out of here.
Hell yeah.
My man.
Thank
enjoy
you.
the
Good to see you.
James
Congrats on
Gin.
everything, buddy.
You should try
Thanks,
it.
man.
Yeah.
you
I'm
have
excited for you to get your car done.
Me too.
Yeah.
Congrats on a year on YouTube. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Killing it.
Thank you,
And
thank you.
daily driving Ferraris. That's a good move. I like that move a lot. I want to try your seats actually before we get out of here.
Yeah.
I want to see your interior dye job. I didn't
Okay.
come down and look before, but I'm gonna go look now.
Yeah, let's go look at it. Let's go yup around.
All right, everybody. We love you. See you in 2025. Bye.